Today we're going to make a power carved tiki pole osprey nest. Now I found this pressure treated pole, had drifted up onto one of the marsh islands. We dragged it out, put it on a small boat and took it home. I drew out the face of the tiki that I wanted to carve, and I'm just going to use a small electric chainsaw. This one's a Craftsman. It's got a 10-inch chain on it, but it's nice because it's lightweight and very maneuverable. So this process is fairly easy. Number one, this particular video is not a how-to video on using a chainsaw safely. I'm really just showing you how I used the tools that I have to carve this tiki. So the first thing I did was outline the entire face. So I outlined the nose, I outlined the mouth, the lips, eventually the teeth and the eyes and the eyebrows, etc. And I'm just going in a ½ inch to an inch. And I can always go back and go a little bit deeper if I need to. And I'm just taking my time and trying to follow the lines or the drawing that I had made just with a Sharpie. I was surprised at how quickly this whole project went. I actually did the majority of the carving in about 2 hours after work one evening. So now I'm just making a slightly deeper cut at the bottom of the teeth. I'm going to actually remove that whole section between the top of the bottom teeth and the bottom of the top teeth. So I'm going to make a couple cuts in there. And I'm going to finish off outlining the eyebrows. And the concept here was to return the pole to the marsh as a tiki, but have it have arms that extend upward that would eventually hold an osprey nest. I thought it would just be kind of cool. So now, once the outline is done, I'm going to use that same chainsaw to start to carve away and into that outline. So I'm going to remove the material surrounding, for example, the nose, so that the nose is then protruding. And you just take your time. Slowly grind away material. After I'm done with the chainsaw, I'm going to use a angle grinder with a wood cutting disc or a flap sanding disc to smooth out all of these really rough, coarse chainsaw marks. Now I'm back to the mouth. I'm removing that center section I talked about earlier. And just trying not to hit the lips on either side. Now I'm going to start to carve down the teeth on the top, kind of angle them into the mouth. And now I'll cut out each tooth, or put grooves in between each tooth. What was also nice about this project is this pole was extremely heavy when we found it. I guess it was just waterlogged from sitting in the marsh 24/7. But once I got it out of the water and stood up on this rack, it dried out pretty quickly and it became much lighter. So the other tool I'm going to use is an angle grinder. I have either a wood cutting disc, or I can use the flap sanding wheels just to smooth out any of the rough areas. Just use your own artistic creativity. I used a drill just with a speed bore to create the holes for the eyes, and a flap sanding wheel on that same angle grinder just for the eyebrows to add some contrast and some texture. I just put some notches. And I also ended up notching the whole hair area or hat hair area. And then I went back with a torch just to darken the areas that were notched, just to give it some contrast. And at this point, we're almost done. I added a couple of arms. These are just pressure-treated fence posts. I bought an 8-footer, cut it in half, so it was 2 4-foot arms angled upward, just screwed in place. I added a couple of 2x3s and some twigs. I figured I'd give the ospreys a start in building a nest. And then the next step was going to be to load this monstrosity back onto the little skiff and take it back out into the marsh. So we returned this to the marsh. We sunk it down, packed it all in,
Awesome.
Remounted the arms, and pleasantly surprised, I returned an hour later and there was actually an osprey sitting on top of it. Thank you very much for watching.